Well, welcome everybody. I know some people are having trouble getting on, but we'll get started and hopefully they'll catch up to us. Just as a little background, this program you see called Spotted, I've been a member of Recovery International for 20 years. So people who've on before already heard the story. And we had reached out to Recovery. And in my work, we work with leadership and businesses, organizations of all kinds as consultants. And it finally dawned on us, we saw it wasn't just us that were experiencing anxiety and symptoms. There's Donna. But so many clients of ours were. And so we reached out to RI and we talked to them. We came up with an agreement where we could take the RI material and translate it in a way that would fit the work environment. And it's so great. We're starting to reach out to more and more people. And they're starting to experience what those of us know, that this wonderful hidden gem that's been hidden for so long. So that's our relationship. We have, you know what made me really happy when we developed our materials, we sent them to RI and to the board. Of course, they had to approve them and they made almost no changes. But what really gave me a tickle is when I heard that Dr. Lowe's daughters really liked, what we had done. And, we're so committed and thankful to Recovery International that meant a lot. So that's a little bit of our background. Donna, you want to say something about yourself again for people who haven't met us yet?
Hi, my camera's a little dark here. I apologize. Recovery is just, I feel like one of the most important things that has ever came into my life. It not only helped me out of a really tough time in my life, but now helps me in my I guess I could say in piecing back together my life. I now just use it in every aspect of my life, not just in rooms and meetings and with other people, but just my everyday actions. I apply recovery to everything.
Right. Okay. Well, just a little shout out, we have Recovery International members. So here's to all those. We also have a lot of individuals who just bought our course. And we have 3 school districts we want to give a shout out to. We have people that are on from there. We have the Township of Franklin Public Schools. We have Camden's Promise Charter School and Cape May Tech. So shout out to everybody. What's going to happen is we're going to, the first thing we're going to do, I talked about it last time when I was a kid growing up. There was Joe Carcione, the greengrocer, and he'd come on the news every day and do a tip for the day. Here's artichokes or here's lettuce. This is how you buy a cantaloupe. And so we're going to do 3 spots for today we'll review. And then we're going to do examples, and we'll just give people, if you can raise your hand. If you don't know how, I'll explain in a minute how you raise your hand. We'll call on you. You can either chat it in, type it in, or if you want to share it verbally, you'll share the example. And then every one of us, you can either, we're going to have Don and myself give the spots because it would be too cumbersome if everybody raised your hand. But just type in the spots that you would give if you were in a meeting, and Donna will read them. And then at the end, we will do a reading from our material. We're going to do, since a lot of us meditate as part of how we manage our symptoms, we're going to end with a 1-minute meditation at the very end. And a couple announcements, and we'll call it a day. It'll last an hour. So the 3 spots that we have for today is, the first one is, and again, some people know this like the back of their hand better than I do, and some people on this phone call are brand new. So if you've been here a long time, just in your mind, think of how you might help the newcomers to better understand these spots. We tried to pick spots that are applicable to what's going on right now. So the first one, Donna, is if you cannot change an event, change your attitude to it. Thumbs up if you love that spot. Great spot, right? So go ahead. You want to say something about that, Donna, that spot, what it means to you?
Yeah. Something I think that we as humans, we always think we could control everything in our life. We have this false illusion that we can just control everything, from the minute to the big. So this spot I love because it sort of put a light bulb on for me that I can't control situations. Once I learned, how Dr. Lowe always talks about your vanity and your humility, I finally learned I can't control everything, but what I can do is change my attitude towards it.
Right.
And that's why I love that spot, because again, I feel like a lot of us are brought into this world thinking we have this sense of control over all the situations in our lives, and we really don't. we have the power to change our attitude, which is our inner environment.
And
And
of course, with what's going on right
lesson.
now, what could be a more applicable? There's so
Yeah.
much we can't change, but the one thing we can change is our attitude. The
Yes,
second
exactly.
one is an exaggerated sense of responsibility. And,
Mhm.
for me, and again, we're thinking about right now, there's so many things that I think either how my children are doing, how my mother's doing, how clients are doing, or like somehow that I have to fix it or influence. And that's a really important spot for me right now, to really notice and spot when I'm
Mhm.
caught up in an exaggerated sense of responsibility. And Don, anything you want to add to?
Yeah, as a mother of five to a very large Italian family with lots of nieces and nephews, and I know you guys have that on your side as well. You feel like you have to say yes to everything. So you have that exaggerated sense of responsibility that you cannot let anybody down. You must always do everything for everyone. If someone just cries help or something, you feel you need to do that. And Dr. Lowe says that we don't like to hear the word no, and we don't like to say no. And that falls along the lines of that exaggerated sense of responsibility. And again, to the point, it brings us right back to our mental health comes first. We don't have to do everything.
And the last one we're going to cover for today is thoughts can be accepted or rejected.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know for me, it's so, I hear something on the news, I hear someone say something, and now I'm caught up in,
Mm-hmm.
worrying about this new thing. And again, it's such a revelatory idea for me to realize that I can accept or reject ideas. I don't have to just be suggestible and run with them.
Yeah.
Oh, look, we have a cat joining us. Donna, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, when I first came to recovery, I was really caught up in my anxiety and my fearful thoughts. And I believed every one of those thoughts that came into my mind at that time in my life. I believed everything my mind was saying was true. So I've learned now, just because I have a negative thought, a fearful thought, I don't have to accept it. That doesn't mean it's real, that it has, legs to stand on. I can reject that thought, even though it came into my mind. I have the power to reject it.
Okay. Well, excellent. Those are 3 spots, and I wish we could call on everybody, but maybe you could just send your thoughts to our collective intelligence here of what those 3 spots mean to you. So we're going to ask people now, if you want to give an example, and this is how we'll make it easy. You can go to the chat, which is at the bottom of your screen. There's a thing called, you want to explain this, Donna? I think you can explain it better than I can, or you want me to explain it?
Yeah, no, that I can explain. So if you're on your computer, at the bottom, you'll see the word chat. And if you click on that, it brings you up to a little page, and you can just type in if you want to give an example. If you're on your iPad, there's in the top right corner, I think 3 little buttons that say more. It's like participants and then more. If you hit those 3 buttons, a menu drops down, and then there you can see raise your hand, chat, and that as well. Also, if you're joining us by just telephone today, you have to hit, if you want to raise your hand, you hit *9, and that'll give us a little indicator that your hand is up, and then we can call on you. Also, if you type into the chat that you want to give an example and you want to be heard or seen, we can unmute you for that as well. But just put the number 1 in front of your example, and that'll mean that we'll unmute you.
All right. So again, if you want to give an example, just, raise your hand, and in the chat, just type in 1 and then your example, and that way we'll know you want to be called on. If you don't want to be called on, we'll just read the example. Don't put a number 1. So does that make sense to everybody?
Yep. And we have an example already, Evan.
Right. Go ahead.
And they would like to be unmuted. So,
All right.
Mark, if you can raise your hand, then we will be able to. I got it. Okay. So Mark is on there.
And Donna,
I'm unmuted.
all right, you're being unmuted, Mark. And a cool thing about Mark, Donna, before you came on, Mark is a leader up in Montreal, Canada.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you? All right. So,
Okay.
so
Mark,
the situation. Oh, go ahead, Evan.
I just want to say the first couple, since we have some people that are new, we're going to read step 1, 2, 3, and 4. just to reinforce it for new people. And then afterwards, we'll let it go a little bit more. So go ahead, Donna. It's all yours.
Thank you. All right. So, Mark, what's a situation, an everyday event occurred that you began to work yourself up, focusing on a brief description?
Well, it's an everyday event for me in terms of my personal situation, which I won't expand upon. But when I wake up in the morning, I like have a startle effect. It's like at night, I may have had a bad nightmare or whatever regarding my personal situation. And when I wake up, I'm in symptoms.
Okay, so that's your situation. So step 2 is the symptoms that you feel, both physical and mental. This the thoughts and sensations.
Lowered feelings, anxiety, depression, I guess. I'm in a bit of a depressive mood. And physically, no real physical symptoms.
Okay.
Maybe a lethargy,
Lethargy.
a sort of desire to stay where I am, not move my muscles.
Okay. And then step 3 is what spots or the tools did you use to help work this situation down, and any self-endorsement?
Well, I try to use a spot, treat your mental health as a business, not a game. So when I'm in that situation, I try to think positive thoughts. I try to move my muscles to get going during the day, and just to get my mind off of things, try to distract myself from the situation that tends to plunge me into a depression, let's say, when I begin my day.
Okay, great. And can you endorse?
Yeah, I'll endorse again right now again.
Okay, great. Good job. And then step 4 is note your progress on how you would have been before your spotted or recovery training.
Well, I probably wouldn't have known the tools and methods to work myself out of that initial startle effect, or the initial leap into a lowered feeling. And I would have probably, it would have been a prolonged situation where I would have been prolonged into lowered feelings. So I think recovery has taught me that I have to actively and proactively do something to work myself out of that.
All right.
Yes. All right. Great job. Great example. Thank you so much for sharing that example. I love that example because I have that same every morning. That is one of my symptoms that I have from my anxiety. I just wake up every morning startled, no matter how I go to sleep. So great situation. And Evan, I'll turn it on to you.
All right. And again, for people, go ahead, type in the spots you would give, and in a moment, Donna will read them. So I'm going to spot, fearful temper. I'm going to spot Dr. Lowe taught us that it's average for nervous people to wake up in lowered feelings. Maybe some expectation, disappointment. I've been in recovery a long time. I lead groups. I shouldn't still feel this way. Again, accept or reject that. Again, for people who are new, you can accept or reject any spot that we give for you. But again, lower your standards for yourself. And I'm going to spot the average of this going, just for anybody right now, this would be average. And I'll end with, he can really endorse himself for, he didn't make an emergency out of this, endorse himself for moving his muscles, and endorse himself for everything that he does.
Mm-hmm. All right. I have some spots here, Evan. So we have from Janet. She says it's average. Lindsay C. asked, what's the situation it was again? He wakes up startled in the morning. Janet, take things in part acts and endorse for each part. Patty, Mark's symptoms are a temporary harmless expression of nervousness. That's one of my favorite spots. Carolyn, objectivity terminates a panic. It's distressing but not dangerous. Janet says, thank you for spotting on your own example. AIL says, Mark used objectivity, self-led, not symptom-led. And endorse yourself for the effort, not the outcome. That's from Tony. Kim, Mark can face, tolerate, and endure discomfort. Carol, if you are in a state of panic, try to focus outside your mental state. Tony, drop the judgment on yourself for the sake of your mental health. Linda, symptoms are distressing, not dangerous. Jack, it's not how we're feeling, it's how we're functioning. Carolyn, objectivity terminates a panic. It's distressing but not dangerous. Christine, the will to bear the discomfort. Jim K, let your feelings rise and fall. AI, don't tell me how you feel, tell me how you function. Judy, move your muscles to change your thoughts. Lois, doing things to feel better. Don't wait till we feel better to do things. Dolores, processing keeps us in symptoms. Judy, expectations, disappointment. Lois, calm begets calm. Jim K, we can function in discomfort. And Jack, feelings are not facts. They're all
right.
thoughts.
Good job. Hey, this is good. God, it's so nice to hear people chime in like this. So thank you, for giving your
Everybody.
Good job, Mark.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Evan, we have another situation, but I'm just going to read it.
Okay.
It's from Lois. Lois states, hold on, something just popped up on my screen. How about the feeling of responsibility to contact elected officials to urge actions to help the country? Is that exaggerated or is that an average? Isn't contacting them, planning, deciding, and acting? So it seems like she has a little bit of temper on about contacting our local officials and if that's putting her in that state of exaggerated sense of responsibility.
Okay. Well, I'm going to spot, and again, did she give any symptoms or
Lois, can you type in any symptoms that you're feeling?
or spots that you've done?
Spots?
If not, we can just spot it.
Hold on, I have some things coming down. Let me see. No, not yet.
Okay. Want me to start spotting?
Yeah.
I'm going to spot, someone called me.
Oh, she says, no spots. She's just wondering. So maybe we can
Okay.
talk about that feeling.
Well, I'm sure she's not the only one.
Yeah.
And I finally, someone called me from our group to do a 5-minute phone call. And I'm going to spot angry temper and some fearful temper. And the main thing is duality.
Mhm.
It's not right or wrong for writing to their representative or not. Dr. Lowe teaches any decision will steady us. And it's a duality that causes tenseness, and it's the tenseness that is what's the source of our symptoms. So those are the spots I have for her.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to spot, like you said, the duality. So any decision will steady you, even if you spot not to decide today. And plan, decide, and act. And then, so we have a spot coming in from Ivishai, if I'm sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly.
Avishai.
Do the things you fear and hate to do. The officials are there for you.
Okay.
Any other side? Your temper blinds us to the other side of the story. Act in part acts from Christine. Bob, we follow our own convictions. That's a great spot for this one. Dolores, Lois can endure us for being group-minded and wanting to take action.
Don, I spot she wouldn't be right or wrong for writing the letter or not writing the letter.
Yep, and we just had somebody just put in, there's no right or wrong in social situations. Jack, there's no right or wrong as long as we can express without temper. Mark, don't build from the outer world to inner if it affects the peace you seek. I like that. Rexy, every measure of self-control brings a measure of self-respect. Tony, it's average to feel uncomfortable in an uncomfortable situation. Christine, peace, choose peace over power. Linda, endorse, I think this is an endorsement, she's being group-minded. Judy, outer approval is a want, not a need. Aaron, do what gives you the least symptoms. Christine, we can't control our outer environment. Patty, there is no right or wrong in the trivialities of everyday life. This virus is not trivial, but whether or not we contact Congress is. It's a good spot. Janet, be careful about temper. Be careful, temper blinds us, blinds insight. Tony, we make our greatest gains while practicing comfort. Avishai, anticipation is often worse than the realization. Carolyn, have the thought, but don't make an issue. Judy, we often feel we say too much or too little. spot I like. Lois, bear the discomfort and comfort will come. Jim, do the things you fear and hate to do. And let's see, any more spots here?
Donna, I'm going to spot perfection's a hope, a dream, an illusion. Again, she can accept or reject this, but she might be trying to write the perfect letter.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to write an average letter.
Yeah, and I'm going to spot that we can do anything in symptoms, and that's even make a phone call, write a letter to our congressman, no matter how we're feeling. We have self-imposed expectations lead to self-induced frustrations from Dolores. Christine, have the courage to make the mistake. Jim, lower your expectations and your performance will rise. Judy, people, places, or things don't work ourselves. We work up ourselves. Tony, face it, not basic. Janet, we are not heroes, saints, angels, or martyrs.
Yeah. For anybody who's new and maybe this feels like a shotgun, like all these spots, one of the things we encourage is listen to them. Find a spot or two spots that you feel like you could use and repeat to yourself over and over again. You don't have to remember all these. It comes in time. This format that we use is a chance for all of us to collectively practice. So when someone gives an example, what's cool about this, in a way, it's no longer their example. They're offering their example to us as a group, and it gives us a chance to practice. So it's try not to get all this going on. I got to remember all these. Listen to them, find one or two that you really like, and it's just like if you were doing push-ups or practicing the violin, little by little, we get better at it. So I'm going to give one more spot on this one, Donna. Worry is an attempt to control outer environment with our thoughts, which of course is impossible.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking to what you were speaking to, again, if you're new, I remember my first meeting, or, you kind of sit around here feeling like a ping pong match because we're throwing out all these spots to you. So like Evan said, we like to say pick one or two that you like, and we say give it like 6 tries with the meetings or the webinars. Don't stop at the first one. You'll notice, I always say to everybody, do an experiment. Pick one spot a week and just work one spot that you like and work on that. And you'll see, I can almost guarantee how much it starts to work and it starts to catch on. All right. So one more spot on this. If you contact them, you can say anything in a
cultured manner.
Yeah. All right. And
does anybody else have an example?
Do we have an example? Tony has her hand
Tony.
raised.
Tony has his hand raised. Or she. Is it a he or a she, Tony? All right. Tony's being unmuted.
The past few days, I've been waking up in lowered feelings, and it's been sticking with me. I feel that the situation in the world today is starting to affect me. And I am very, that's temperamental lingo, excuse me. It's, I'm not moving my muscles the way I was prior to this. So it's somewhat upsetting.
Okay, so that's the situation. So Tony, what are your symptoms, both physical and mental, and the sensations, if any?
My symptoms, really, a lot of just fatigue and headaches.
Okay.
And fearful temper and angry temper.
Okay. And what spots or phrases can you apply, and what can you endorse yourself for to give yourself that pat on the back?
Well, try and choose peace over power.
Mm-hmm.
Calm brings calm. And don't put a time limit as to when these negative feelings will disappear. And I endorse myself for being group-minded and sharing this example. And I think it's average in today's world to have lower feelings.
Yes, great spots, Tony. And yes, thank you so much for sharing this example.
Thank you.
And can you know your success on what you would have done before your recovery or spotted training?
Well, for one, I wouldn't be on this webinar today, or I wouldn't be cooking or anything like that. I would just be in bed, period.
Yeah.
All right, Evan, I'm going to send it to you.
I'm going to spot fearful temper. She may be having some temper with the symptoms. I'm going to spot Tony can lower her standards for herself. It's average right now. Many of us are waking up in lowered feelings. And what Dr. Lowe says, the core of our whole program, it's not dangerous to have these symptoms and feelings. And she's probably attaching a little danger, a lot of danger to the symptoms. One more, don't put a time limit on how long these symptoms will last. Time limits are a form of temper, which of course causes tenseness, causes symptoms, and builds a vicious cycle.
All right, so I have some spots for you here, Tony. From Al, it's very average. Carolyn, when we take care of our inner environment, outer environment will take care of itself. Carol, if you can't change an event, you can change your attitude towards it. Dolores, we are not responsible for the initial flare of temper, only for prolonging it. Judy, feelings and sensations rise and fall as long as we don't attach danger. Mark, we are not responsible for the initial flare-up, but we are responsible for working ourselves down. D, we can endorse for every hair we brush, endorse like a running stream. Mark, have the will to effort. Patty, Tony can move her muscles in spite of the fatigue. Tony can endorse for how far she's come. Before recovery, she would have stayed in bed. Judy, genuine feelings. Bab, LV, or it's average to feel uncomfortable and uncomfortable sensation. Carolyn, defeatism of thinking brings despondency of mood, change our thoughts, change our feelings. Jim K, it's not how you feel, it's how you function. Linda, we can't control the outer environment, only our reaction to it. Al, feelings come and go, rise and fall, run their course and fall. Bob, endorse for giving the example and cooking. I had 46, will to bear discomfort. Jack, she can drop the judgment against herself and her symptoms, it's average. And Janet, humor is our best friend. These are all great spots. And I think Tony should endorse because she makes a business out of recovery. She regularly attends meetings and she really does a great job. Drop any judgment she has against herself for feeling this way right now. Everybody's feeling these same exact feelings. There's not one person that's not. So she's not, this is very average. Evan, back to you.
No, I think that's really, thank you, Tony, for giving
Tony
the
says
example.
thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you know what? One more I'll give. It's basic, not basic. It's this morning. It's this day. It's not the next 3 months, the next 6 months. That we learn to take things in part acts.
Good spot. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to remind people about, if you want to raise your hand, this idea, go to your butt. You want to explain it, Donna? We'll make it one person instead of me trying to explain it too. But
Yeah, for the raising of the hand.
yes.
Yeah, so if you're on a laptop and you hit your mouse pad, on the bottom, it'll say participants, chat, and where does it say to raise your hand on? Hold on, let me just find out. Where does it say to raise your hand on the computer?
When you click on participants on the bottom of that screen, it has a little bar that says raise hand.
Yes, it did. I see right here in front of my face. So if you click on the participants, it says raise hand. If you're on an iPad or an iPhone, if you go to the upper right corner, there's 3 little dots. That's the drop-down menu, and there it'll say raise hand or chat. All right.
What? Yeah, so if you want to give an example, go ahead and, raise your hand like that, and we'll call on you. Do we have another example?
I'm looking. Let's see. Tony said thank you. If you get, I have okay, here we go. Okay. This is from Carol. My mother is in an assisted living right now. With the pandemic, the staff is not wearing masks. I am in the healthcare and have asked why. They say it's because they may run out. So that's the situation.
Yeah.
Carol, can you put any symptoms that you're feeling about this? All right, so Evan, if you want to maybe start spotting on this a little bit.
Sure, and maybe it'll get people going on this. So I'm going to spot I think it was Patty said before that this is not a triviality, the virus and what's happening with her. I think she said her mother. But Dr. Lowe says we can still use recovery, even if it's not a triviality.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to spot it's average to be uncomfortable in an uncomfortable situation. Carol can say anything in a cultured manner.
Mm-hmm.
She's not right or wrong for her opinion. I don't want to use the spot there. I don't know the answer, so I'm going to let that one go. The main thing I'm going to spot here, it would be average to be uncomfortable in an uncomfortable situation. Anticipate enjoy or not at all. Replace insecure thoughts with secure thoughts.
Yes. I have
And
a message here.
one last one. Endorse herself for being group-minded for her mother.
Carolyn, do you want to be unmuted? Someone says it looks like you're talking, but you're muted. If you can just type in a 1.
I see her there. Carol, looks like you want to. Yeah, she looks like she wants to talk. We'll unmute you, Carol. Oh. Can you unmute her?
There was someone had already raised their hand.
I know, but can you unmute Carol?
Yeah, sure.
All right, give us 1 second, Carol. We're gonna unmute you.
We have 2.
Carol Glock, do you see her?
Yep.
Give us 1 second. There we go, Carol.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted. Thank
There
you.
you go. You're unmuted. Go ahead, Donna.
All right, Carol. So can you give us some, so you gave us the situation. So step 2 would be your symptoms, both physical and mental.
And I have to preface this by saying my mother was a recovery participant, and I just went to a few meetings with her. So I'm new at this, but I also have tried to with my college students, but this is an on-side note. But
Carol, you and I have spoken on the phone.
we have.
Yeah.
So I have to tell you that my symptoms are I'm worried, I'm concerned, I'm nervous, because as a healthcare individual myself, I feel like they should be doing this. And according to the CDC, they don't have to yet.
Okay.
So I sort of went off there, but that's is that what you wanted? Worried?
Yes.
concerned?
Yes.
Afraid?
Anything, are you having anything physical?
No, it's all my mental state.
Okay. And any spots that you can apply and any endorsement?
Well, if I write a letter, I could endorse myself for the efforts, not the results,
Mhm.
even though I may not get like I may or may not get a good result. If you're in a state of panic, try to focus on your mental state. Realize we don't know everything and be comfortable of this realization.
Okay, great spots. And then how about noting any success, like what you may have been before you had any awareness of recovery training?
In success in what manner?
And how you're handling the situation.
You mean with worrying about my mother's situation?
Yeah, like before you started practicing recovery, how might have you reacted?
Oh, I see what you're saying there. Well, I probably would have gotten angry, upset, maybe called the director and even like scolded her on the phone. And now what I would do is approach everything very calmly, and I'm just going to write an email or a letter stating what my concerns are.
Okay, great. So Evan I'm going to go right to the spots, Evan, being that you
Yep.
gave them before. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just scrolling down. So this is from Lois. Here is one of those situations where I would hope that she could figure out some things she could plan, decide, and act. But once she does everything she can think of, focus on attitude. Dixie, she can express her feelings but suppress her temper. She can reach out on advice for how to act. Judy, you have choices. Jim, outer environment can be rude and indifferent. Dolores, make the insincere gesture of fellowship instead of the sincere gesture of hostility. Jim, feelings should be expressed, temper suppressed. Don't put a time limit on when these feelings will settle down. Jim K, she's being group-minded. Janet, don't get mad at yourself for getting mad. Sandra says, worry is useful in real danger because then you'll take necessary precautions. A fear of this kind is useful. Christine, face, tolerate, and endure discomfort associated with their fears. Bob, endures for plan, deciding, and act. Tony, spot and drop. We can't control the outer environment. We can control our inner environment. She can plan, decide, and act. And I would say every act of self-control will lead to a sense of self-respect. She's not right or wrong for calling up the nursing home and asking them to explain or what they're going to do. And she should endorse. Endorsing brings back the confidence that the worry took away. As Dr. Lowe says, endorsing brings back the confidence that the illness took away. And then Janet, this focus on what you can do, not what you don't have and can't do. From Tony, person's favorite pastime is self-torture. And I'm going to put a last spot here. Processing tends to keep us in symptoms. That's why Dr. Lowe says to plan, decide, and act. Yes, and there's a spot that said we can't control the outer environment. We can only favorably influence it. And then another spot here, take adequate outside action. And that was from Carolyn.
All right. Thank you, Carol. Dan, we had someone else with their hand raised. There's someone AA. Can you, are they unmuted? Okay, we're gonna unmute someone with the initials AA.
Hello?
Yeah, hi.
I came in late, Evan.
Oh, hey, went for now.
Sorry. Yeah, I had a spot and I lost it now, but I'm here just to let you know.
All right, do you want to give an example?
No.
Okay, all right, we'll unmute you.
So Evan, we had a question.
Yes.
And I think it might be good. Someone is asking, I'm just going to scroll back up so I can, let's see. If we get a chance, can we explain what the Spot It program is versus the recovery program?
Okay, very good. So I can explain that. So, you know, Spot It, what you see above us is a program that we developed based on the recovery concept for help people to use this concept in the work environment. Of course, they can use it anyway, you know, anywhere they want it. It's used anywhere. But so we went ahead and we, you know, I've been in recovery for 20 years. We did this in an agreement with Recovery International because they saw an opportunity, as we did, to get this message out into the workplace environment. So Spot It is a separate program. It's not a part of Recovery International, but it's completely based in honoring Recovery International. And it's taking the Recovery International tools and information and targeting it specifically to the workplace environment. And that ranges from school districts to traditional companies to universities to nonprofit organizations. And so that's what we're doing, going out and sharing this with people all over the country. So, you know, what we realized is that those of us who come to RI, it's an incredible gift we have. And so many people experience these symptoms and anxiety and lowered feelings, and they don't have the tool that we have. And what we found out, it just doesn't exist. There's mindfulness meditation apps out there, and there's benefit programs to help people with smoking cessation. And everybody talks about the impact of mental health and why we really need to work on it. But thank God for Dr. Lowe and RI. There's nothing like what we have. And we felt like we were in a position to go out because of what we do and offer it to people. And RI agreed. And how this happened was that, you know, we have a webinar for anybody who signs up, and, you know, whatever company or person buys the course, you know, we do sell the course and we share that revenue with Recovery International. So we all benefit from this. And we decided to open it up to RI members, this webinar, just like we would for anybody who joined. And Sandra agreed, and we thought it would be, especially now, this would be an important tool that we could share. And so that's our relationship.
Yeah, and Evan, if I can interject too, to say that when you just said there's not much out there like this for help in health benefits and stuff like that. And when I had exhausted all the efforts from different therapists, doctors, psychiatrists, I was lucky that I have members in my family who were in the RI community. If I didn't have that, I never would have found Recovery International. I had other family members and friends who knew about it. And I realized just how, I guess the word I want to use is maybe a little, not segregated, but it's a little bit hidden, I feel like sometimes. And if you're not in the right place, you don't know it. Therapists don't know about it. My psychiatrist didn't know about it. My psychiatrist now calls me and asks me about the meeting so she can tell it to other people. And so we just found that, Evan and Tarek said, we need to bring this to everybody. And this was one of the avenues, rather than us just telling everybody, ourselves. This just gave it a broader way to get it into the workplace, because it's just for everybody. You don't have to have a mental situation. It's just, it's part of everyday life now. And I think the world has just shown that to us, how much, this is now part of our everyday. You don't have to be a nervous person or a nervous patient to experience any of these feelings. So I just wanted to add that it's just like a hidden gem. And I just don't think enough people know about it. And if you don't know the right people, you just don't find it.
And I want to, we all hands out to Sandra and her team at Recovery
Yeah.
International is doing everything they can to get this out in the world. But none of us can do this on our own. We all are collectively trying to share this message out there. And what we built was an online class. That's what Spotted is. Spotted is an online course that a company could buy or an individual could buy. And that way people can, if they can't get to a meeting, or if they can, we're hoping more people go to recovery meetings because of it. So people can buy the class and learn the method and then participate in these webinars. And we're always sending things out. And so we really feel very much we're an adjunct to Sandra and her team, and trying to get this out to more and more people. I know for myself, there were years I was in therapy really struggling. I remember saying to my therapist, is there some group I could go to?
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know of anybody. And I'm like, man, that would have really made a difference to me back then if I would have found out about this. So.
And I had those same things. I kept saying, is there a place I can go? I remember saying to people, is there a place I can go where I can get help? Because I have family members who are in a 12-step program, and I knew what they had. I said, there has to be a place. And then finally someone said, there is, RI. And that's how I got there. We have one more example, Evan, if we take it real fast. They type.
Yeah, we have time.
Okay. So this is from D. And let me say, I hope we answered your question. I forget who asked that, but thank you so much. We love explaining how we got here and why. We're very grateful.
One thing, Donna, you got a message I just saw from Sandra that people can sign up for the daily spot that they get.
I love the daily spots.
Which, a lot of us love, and we think what a great resource. And I do want to make sure to encourage people. I got to renew my membership, and we can all help Recovery International by renewing our memberships in there as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What's our spot? The last one.
This is from D. The example is her grandparents are not following the quarantine recommendations. That's her example.
Right.
Her symptoms: lowered feelings, tightness in her chest, worry. Her spots. Our outer environment gets to our inner environment through the bridge of temper. Don't expect difficult people not to be difficult, and she can endorse for acting in a cultured manner. That is a great situation. The way she broke it down like that, great example.
All right. Did she give any spots or? Donna, did she give any spots or?
She did. Her spots were outer environment gets into inner environment through the bridge of temper, and not to expect difficult people not to be difficult.
Yeah. I'm going to spot people do things to irritate us, but people do things that irritate us, not to irritate us. I'm going to spot some fearful temper and some angry temper. And the last one I'll spot is to lower our standards for other people for the sake of our mental health.
Mm-hmm. All right. Going down. We have some questions here that we'll get to. We have some comments that we need to get back to. I'm just trying to scroll down to the spots.
I can give more while you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
thoughts can be accepted or rejected. One of the spots that we highlighted today. And if you could, the other one we talked about was if you cannot change an event, change your attitude toward it.
Okay. Let's see. To know is not to know, from Tony. We want people, this is from Carolyn, we want people to do what we want them to do, say what we want them to say, and that they seldom do. I've never heard that one before. That's great. In recovery, we learn to check our impulse, to step in and take over, bear the discomfort for comfort to come.
Yeah.
Not how you feel, it's how you function. Self-appointed expectations lead to self-induced frustrations. Judgment of others robs us of our own inner peace. I think that's it for the comments. Yeah, and again, that spot that I love, we can't control outer environment. We can only favorably influence it with our actions.
Absolutely. Al, I see your hand raised. Go ahead and type in your spot. That's how we're doing the spotting, typing it in. It'd be hard to call on everybody, so we're doing it that way.
Oh, here's another one of my favorite ones from Lisa. Do we want to be right or do we want to be well?
Yes.
Worry is the irrational belief that we can control the outer environment with our thoughts. Probability versus possibilities, from Judy.
One of my favorite things of doing this, Don, is, you know your own spots that we focus on, but you hear slightly different phrasing and we learn new ones from each other. It's really wonderful. It's
It
very,
is. That I always smile when I hear a new spot I never heard from. I get really excited. From Lisa, this is average with the older generation. We cannot control the outer environment. Express feelings, suppress temper, from Lois. Yeah, and I spot the averageness of this situation. I know with my parents live with me, and it took a good few weeks for them to really understand all the precautions that had to be taken. And I had to stop and choose that peace over power. And I think Lisa put this somewhere, peace over power in the family. It's a strong link, peace in the family. It's a strong link area, our family.
the stronger the relationship, the higher
Yeah.
what is it?
The stronger the relationship, the stronger the reaction.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We have our greatest temper in the family.
Family, yeah. We can,
We
we have from Jude.
excuse rather than accuse for the sake of our mental health.
Yep, and we can only control our thoughts and impulses. We can't be comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. Excuse rather than accuse. We only hope to influence outer environment. Be the patient, nervous person.
Okay.
All right, and then we have some. So Dee, thank you. That's a great example. And again, another like really average example these days. I know a lot of people that are going to do that. I want to go down to Lisa. Said.
There are a couple of questions we had before we close.
She said, Lisa says they can sign up online meetings under Steve.
Here's what we'll do. We'll send a link for everybody. After this with the follow-up, we're going to send you the recorded version of this, and we'll also include a link so you can sign up. You'll know how to sign up for the daily spots. How's that?
Yeah, and recoveryinternational.org. Yes, to share about the Recovery International website, you can go there to sign up for the daily spots. You can become a member. I love the daily spots. I look forward to them every day now. It's another way for me to learn spots. Suzanne says, great to hear it's not just for nervous patients. That's why we wanted to get Spotted out there. You don't have to be a nervous patient or person to do this. And she goes, she's a therapist. I'm telling almost all my clients and my therapist friends about these tools and info. So thank you, Suzanne.
We got a question. Is this something that's offered on a regular basis or pay?
Yeah.
So the Why Not Spotted course, they pay for it. They can either buy it as a company, their whole company. It's very reasonable, but it's an online course that people can take. There's 9 modules. It goes through the whole concepts, the spotting. We demonstrate it for people. We talk about the 5-minute phone call. So it's something, ideally, we'd love to see people build a culture of this within their companies, or individually people can buy it, you know. And we're going to send a link. There, we have a website, whynotspottit.com. Again, these webinars, the idea originally was for the people who bought the program and the companies that brought the program, we're going to do the webinar once a month. But in connecting with Sandra and what's going on right now, we're like, hey, let's offer to all the whole RI community. And maybe this is a way that we can be helpful and to support the community itself. So again, this is not a Recovery International event, so to speak. So yes, we'll send the link. You can buy it. And a really nice thing that we created is that companies can buy it as a benefit, just like the school districts get it, you know, instead of just like they get a smoking cessation program for everyone. We have schools online that every teacher, every employee has access to the program and they can learn it. And so that's very, very exciting. So what? Yeah, and we're going to get to that in a minute, but we have free resources for people who want it. Don and I have, as well as Tab, recorded on our YouTube channel, Why Not Spot It. We have all of what we call these workplace SOS. They're short 5-minute clips. They're free. Anyone can get them. And we target specific situations like sleeplessness or travel. No one's traveling right now. Or getting a comment for someone, a negative comment, or starting a big project, and we show them how to use the spots. Donna, you loves the phrase mini mantras is what we call them. And that's free. You can go right on LinkedIn. We have a Facebook page, or you can go on to Why Not Spot It on YouTube, and they can download. We have it for free. We have a lot of free resources. We have this list of big list of spots, and people can get the spots for free. So as we're getting ready to close, the 3 things we wanted to do, we wanted to review the 3 spots, read a piece from the literature, and Donna's going to lead us in a 1-minute meditation for those who want to participate. So the 3 spots that we focused on today is, if you cannot change an event, you can change your attitude toward it. Number 2, exaggerated sense of responsibility. And we gave a little bonus with that one. That is, nervous people, or probably anyone, don't like to say no or hear no. It's difficult for us. And the third one was, thoughts can be accepted or rejected. The piece I wanted to read from, Don and I talked about it, and we actually read it in our meeting last week, Donna, on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Is tenseness. And I'm reading this from the yellow book, The Wisdom of Dr. Lowe. For people who don't have it, you can go to the RI website and purchase it. I believe you can get it on Amazon as well. And this is a compilation by topic of Dr. Lowe's writings. And I love this one. All the experiences of a nervous patient or person can be reduced to the fact that he or she develops tenseness. This is such an important concept, this idea of this tenseness that we develop and we're not even aware of it. Get this. This is what he says. He's very clear. Without tenseness, the person would relax, normally relax. He or she would have average relaxation. But with tenseness, relaxation is gone. And if relaxation is gone and tenseness itself installs itself on an endearing basis, then symptoms appear. Tenseness cannot be maintained if you don't fear. And we heard a couple of these examples. That's why the fear and danger is so important. And if you are not, or if you are angry, you must neither be fearful nor angry, and there will be no tenseness as far as humanly possible. So he really gives us a huge clue here, the whole issue of the temper, fear and anger, and how it leads to tenseness. So great book. You can see it's going a lot of places with me. It's all worn out. I think most of us are. So what? I did. I said it. So Don is going to, we want to thank everyone for joining us. We won't be here next week, but we will be here the next 2 weeks, the 19th and the 26th of April. And we'll see if there's a momentum. We'll keep it going. So for those of you who want to join us in a 1-minute meditation, we're going to do that. And then we'll end the meeting. And thank you so much and have a pleasant day. Go ahead, Donna.
All right, so just a little quick segue here. Dr. Lowe talks about motionless sitting, and I like to, as I read more of Dr. Lowe's works, I feel like he was a yoga practitioner, just he didn't know he was and before his time. So he always talks about that motionless sitting when we feel so restless. And basically, I think he's talking about meditation. So if you all just want to sit back for a moment and just close your eyes. We've been staring at the screen, and close your eyes for just a moment and find your breath. Just see where the breath is. Is it in the chest? Is it shallow? Is it fast? Is it slow? Just take noticing of the breath. And then see if you can get the breath deep into the abdomen. Feel the expansion and the contraction of the breath. Maybe 3 times. Inhaling, the abdomen becomes nice and full. And exhale, feel the abdomen go back into the spine, exhaling all the air out. And with each exhalation, you're just relieving yourself of all that does not serve you, all that does not bring you peace, joy, equanimity, space. And then just bring your attention and awareness to your toes, just the tips of your toes. Don't look, just maybe wiggle them, feel them there. And starting at the toes, take a deep breath and feel as though the breath is traveling up through the toes, the ankles, the shins, the knees, the thighs, the hips, the torso, the heart center, the shoulders, the throat, the mouth, the nose, the forehead, all the way to the top of the head. And then exhale down from the head to the nose, to the mouth, to the throat, the shoulders, the heart center, the abdomen, the waist, the thighs, the knees, the shins, the top of the foot, out through the toes. And now you're going to inhale again from the toes, and following that same path, you're just going to bring white light comes all the way in, or nice, deep, refreshing air. Feels like you're outside, and just this refreshing air is coming in all the way to the body, to the crown of the head, rejuvenating, and then exhaling, the air flows out, taking away all that does not serve or support you. And one more time from the toes. Feel that rush of fresh air or light fill the body, bringing it peace, calmness, even healing. And from the tips of the for the top of the head all the way to the tips of the toe, that air leaves the body, taking away all that does not serve. And then just resting in a moment in that space, feeling as if all the pathways in the body, in the physical body, the mental body, have all been cleared. And now the breath can reach the whole body, bringing relief, relaxation, and stillness. And then when you feel ready, slowly, gently open your eyes.
We want to thank everybody for joining us today. We wish you well. Happy spotting, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Take care, everybody.
Take care. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.